Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody hanging out. It is a calm Friday, and Raymond over on twitch.tv is starting us out fresh, chat, because they say some 40 comments in over on twitch.tv first. And I like that. I do that all the time, actually. Whenever I go into anybody's stream, I know they've been streaming 2 hours, doesn't matter. First. Chat! It's a beautiful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are around the world. Woo! I'm hyped. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about Sandbox. Chat, it is April 15th, 2022, 7:05 p.m. my local time, but it may be April 16th, 2022, where you are. I'm going to start off this live stream, especially for those people who watch later on VOD, on YouTube, on twitch.tv. Maybe you're watching later on Twitter or Facebook. If you are watching later, and of course, if you're watching live right now, know that you absolutely, irrevocably cannot miss tomorrow's live stream with Alex Florez. If you miss that show, you have missed a huge opportunity. I can't talk about it, but let me tell you what. I'm talking about it right now. Be there. You want it. You got to have it. And I'm appreciating the love in the chat right now. All right. Appreciating the love in the chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, I went down and got a haircut. Chat, I was in a live stream earlier on twitch.tv/halfdork with a 0. We were playing a little Dungeon and Dragon, you know what I mean? Getting our creative juices flowing for the Sandbox game, where everybody in there is part of the Sandbox ecosystem. And those people in there, unfortunately, I had to leave after about an hour because I had a haircut appointment. Thank you for recognizing that. You guys are lovely, lovely human beings. Chat, we got a lot going on in the Sandbox game. A lot's happened this week. A lot is happening as we continue to develop towards Alpha Season 3. And 5 days a week on this show, we play your games. As we get ready to play the first game of the day, chat, please, let me know what you want to play to kick off today. I think I got one in my queue, but I haven't checked yet. I gotta go back and look. GJ Retro Aircraft 1945 from the Game Jam, the Retro Gaming Game Jam, was requested yesterday. It's on about page 84. So I'm going to check that one out today. But if you have a game that you would like me to play, test on this show, I will attempt to play it like I am the general consumer. Like I have no idea how to play the Sandbox game. And then at the same time, I'm going to attempt to intentionally break your game. Because the goal of this show 5 days a week here on the Sandbox game is to help prepare your games for the metaverse. I want to make sure that you have high quality, engaging, and fun content for people to play. And if you happen to be creating with the intention of winning a game jam in the future, just know that I will help you get there as best I can. Not the first time we've done that. In chat, I appreciate you guys. Maxi Mac in the chat over on twitch.tv says they're getting the game re-ready for you. We'll be the first to know when it's good to go. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the ability to not only play test the game once, but to keep going over it over and over. I will review games until the sun doesn't shine anymore for you guys. So don't worry. If you got it, just queue it up and we'll get it taken care of here on the show. Seen a lot of chat. Metasander asks, why so fancy? Because it's a day. You know what I mean? You just do it. Just put it on. You just put on the clothes. Things happen, you know? I was wearing a shirt yesterday that I cannot say what the subtitle says. But you guys may have seen Touche and Andy Ritchie made a lovely visit up here my way. Andy Ritchie coming all the way from the UK. They were doing a road trip all over the United States. Bunch of cool videos and photos coming out of that. And they were doing that. And I was wearing a Windows sweater. You guys may have seen it on the last show. But under that sweater, there is a t-shirt that I am wearing that says an inappropriate subtitle because one of my friends from California, we were playing a Jackbox TV at 3 in the morning, as friends do, you know how it is, on the internet. And it just had this like ridiculous like smile face, but not really a smiley face. That was like terrified. Anyway, I thought it was hilarious. Bought it on the spot because, you got to support your friends. And yeah, so we got, fancy is one thing. Fancy is one thing, but sometimes you just put on the clothes because you like it, because it feels good. And some of you have noticed that this little pink shirt has surfing dinosaurs on it. It's wild. It's funny. It's weird. But anyway, enough about me, enough about personal things, enough about connecting with the humanity that is the people behind the Sandbox game. Chat, let's talk about what's new, what's good for this Friday. Posted earlier today by @TheSandboxGame on Twitter, the Union for Peace NFT created in VoxEdit by French artist @OKITI_X is now on auction until April 17th. So you've got about 2 days left. It's actually less than that. It's about a day and 5 hours. The revenues for this particular auction, for this art piece, will be entirely donated to UNICEF France to support children affected by the war in Ukraine. So a really good cause for a nice piece of art. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but super interesting piece. Clearly, it's a little bit more. Whatever you call it, like political or whatever it is. But when I look at this, I see something that is like ridiculously good transition use, great use of multiple layers inside of a single element, to be able to take all of the components that you see here, from the colors of the continents to the whites, the reds, the blacks, the dove, all those things hidden inside of this single like cylindrical shape, is super interesting. Super interesting. Now Jackie Chan in the chat asks if the surfing dinosaurs are Easter themed. It's a Good Friday, friend. But it's interesting that we talk about Easter, because I live in like a obviously a Western society, right? So I don't really know about like all of the global holidays. And I think it would be fun if the chat could help expose me to new holidays that I am not aware of right now. Because if I always love picking up new cultural pieces, and there are some obviously that I know. But the ones that I don't know, I think could also help, even if you just look at it in the Sandbox way, maybe it helps you make that amazing niche piece that you haven't made. Ice Pilot X7 in the chat wants to celebrate April 20th for whatever reason that only, I don't know, Snoop Dogg would know, you know what I mean? The end of Ramadan in 2 weeks. That's interesting. See, I wonder, so those things, like, do they always coincide, Zolnir? Do they always kind of come together in that timeline? Because I think there's an opportunity there where you could Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, absolutely. That is pretty known in the U.S. at least. I think that may be celebrated more in the U.S. than in Mexico. As far as I'm aware, it's wild. But Free Comic Book Day, Mr. Furious, he says. See, so now we're getting some diversity, right? All those things. I know Free Comic Book Day is the same day every year, right? But I don't know if that's international. Is that just U.S.? Songkran? What's Songkran? What's that all about? See, now we're getting into opportunities, things that you could. I'm gonna look this up here. Songkran is Thai New Year's national holiday. Oh. See, that's amazing. I had no idea this existed. You know what I mean? Obviously they're going to celebrate a New Year's Day, right? But this being its own kind of like just in its own timeline, right? Compared to the West where I am. This is great. I'd love to see some assets designed around these holidays from all over the world. I think that's amazing. Ice Pilot X7, you're right. I did have a nice cover, didn't I? It was a pretty nice cover for that. Yeah. We like to spin it a little bit. I like to spin it like I'm not aware. Like I didn't list, certain assets for 42.69 ETH or something. You know what I mean? you gotta have fun. You gotta have fun. All right, chat. So you have an amazing opportunity here with the Union for Peace asset, and I have sent that to myself so that I can link it here in this chat. So you guys have an opportunity if you'd like to take a look at this asset, put a bid on it. Right now the bid's relatively cheap. You know, I'd say 100 Sand is a pretty darn good deal for any NFT, that especially an art piece that, you know, clearly this amount of detail has taken a considerable amount of work to get through this. If you guys have ever animated in VoxEdit, you know what I'm talking about. This is days worth of animation and design just on its own, and then going through like concepting and all these other things. A wonderful piece. So definitely worth looking at for sure. Mr. Pizza Man says they celebrate April 20th every day, which is wild because it's not even April 20th, you know what I mean? So, on to the next one, chat. Chat! We got Apes of Space NFT cross the Sandbox game. The Ape with the Golden Gun. We are excited to share our third trailer with you all. Public sale on the Apes of Space VX is on April 19th. So check it out. They got a little information over there on their official Twitter. Sandbox retweeted this because, you know, it's a beautiful work. We've seen some other beautiful works come around in our time. You know, Cyberkong's VX has been a big deal. We've had the Snoop avatars. We've had the World of Women interpretations, the Bored Apes that are in the progress right now. So I know a lot of you guys in chat have been asking me lately about Apes of Space. And with that in mind, you can check out this trailer over on their official Twitter at apesofspace_NFT, and go to their Discord for more information, because that is coming up in just 4 days from now. So I don't know if there's it looks like there appears to be some whitelisting. Maybe you can get some things, but always, once again, make sure you're only on their official sources. So at apesofspace_NFT on Twitter. Don't use any other links. Stay safe out there. You know what I mean? Got Z Apes Joe, both Lady and Genesis, and 2 VX to mint on the 19th. Nice. That's cool. That's good to see. It's good to see that the you know, this is a great example of VoxEdit at work in a subsystem that works with the Sandbox game, but isn't necessarily required to be with the Sandbox game. You know, this is somebody who's an artist out there, just like one of you right now, that is just putting in the work using the VoxEdit tool, and you have opportunities to take it wherever you want to take it, right? I've seen people use like really good high-end, you know, modeling softwares with the VoxEdit at the same time, and you make something that's got ray tracing and it's doing all these things, and it's a beautiful piece of art, right? So take that information as it is here, and I'm going to get into playing inside the Sandbox Game Maker. Once again, games that we play here. Let me type more Sandbox Maker. Here we go. But games that we are playing here are games designed by people like yourself. It may be you exactly. One of the users yesterday had asked us to create. And so I'm going to find GJ Retro Aircraft 1945 on page 84 plus. This game was submitted for the Retro Gaming Game Jam. Let me turn that down so you guys don't, you know, get blown out there. All right. And so it was on 84 yesterday. So we'll see if it's still there today. Get a lot of new creations every single day. So, okay. There's one about an airport. Wait, did I skip? Retro Gaming Game Jam. Untitled game. Okay. It looks a little bit like a little race car game. That one might be interesting to check out too. Space Invaders. Nostalgia Quiz. Boo Mouse. Boom Mouse. Possibly. There we go. Aircraft 1945. This is made by Zummer666. Recognize that name from the chat here. So, you know, let's see that soon. Jazzwolf, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, what time does Alex's live stream tomorrow? An important question, Patio 3900. Let me do the math. I got to be there at 11 a.m. my local time. That's 7 hours behind UTC. So 6? Is that right? Does that make sense? It's 2 a.m. right now? Yeah, 6 p.m. UTC. That'll be the time. All right. And yeah. Okay, thanks, but are you sure it's Alex's secret room from Race Maze? Oh, no. No, yeah. The thing tomorrow is not related to the God Duck raffle. Possibly. I know it to be something else. Maybe it is that. Maybe it's both. But I know it to be something else. It is amazing. It says, just joining the game. And you look like a piece of art yourself. Wow. I'm flattered. I'm a blush. I'm a blush here real quick. I like getting into projects early. I'm addicted to that. Got Omnis, Apes. Wow. Nice. Okay. Got here just in time, Grayson Slade says. That's right. We're going to get jumping into the GJ Retro Aircraft 1945 now. Once again, I'm going to try to keep up with chat. So if for any reason you have a question that you'd like to ask at any time during this live stream about anything the Sandbox game, it could be the Game Maker, it could be VoxEdit, it could be the Metaverse, or something that doesn't exist at all, feel free to ask it in the chat, and I will try to address it as soon as possible. Today, wishing, once again, our friend Conrad the best, because he is still feeling a little ill, but that'll probably be the last time that I mention that, just in case. He may have an extended vacation for a little while here as he's getting his stuff sorted. Anyway, I'm going to hang out. And let's play a little airplane. This is airplane 6.0. Press E to enter. Just open it fast, Brittany. Just open it fast.
I love you.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so let's launch. Let's launch this bad boy. Let's enter the plane. We're flying. Okay. First thing I can note is that there is no vertical jumping, meaning that when they created this airplane, they created it not to be one. There is a trick that you can do, and you can see how like I'm kind of able to jump. If I press the space bar, you can hear me spamming it here. There is a trick that you can do. Oh, okay. Wait, I can't go past this line or what? I don't want to get shot by this airplane. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So you can kind of wind up like I'm gonna do an attack. If you hold the button. This guy's definitely gonna get to attack me. Like, okay, so basically on that particular plane, you just have to take it. I would say that for that reason, the first shot that I'm taking there, I liked the fact that I can move around like this and the plane is kind of dealing the damage automatically. That was nice. I'm just always firing. Okay. But with that particular plane, having this checkpoint, this little invisible wall here, I was forced to take damage, which I didn't love that. I would have definitely liked if there was a chance for me to have skill-based play here. Here we go. Whoa, dude. Oh, no. No. You don't want that. Okay. All right. No! Stop looking at me! No! That's it. Brute force it. Here we go. Okay. All right. 2x damage. I like that. And the visual effect changed. Very much in kind with what they would do in those old school. Like, this is themed. This is just straight up themed, almost identical. Like, okay, that aircraft is wrecking me. But I can't continue through it with it. So I just have to, like, take it. So this is another one of those situations. In the previous, when you play the original game, I don't know if you guys know what this is inspired by, but I definitely do. I have fond memories as a very young child. Like, we're talking about like 3, 4, 5 years old, I'm playing this game in real life. I am okay. A little metaverse signboard. And in 1945, definitively, what you would normally have is a okay. This guy's a little shifty, but it's gonna be good. What you would normally have is you'd be flying like this, and then coming down from like the very top right or the very top left, planes would come down and they would fly in a circle, right? They would do a little circle formation somewhere near where that wave 4 sign is. And that circle formation, if you could shoot all 6 of those without getting harmed by any of the threatening planes, like this plane, then it would drop a little bonus for you, like the extra damage that I received here. And so some of these planes so far, as I'm shooting them and I'm getting shot by them, like this plane, Aircraft 2.0, definitely looks like that was a skill-based fight, right? But the others felt to me like they were a little bit, you just had to take it, right? You just had to take it, you had to shoot and deal with what comes. So, okay. I like this Sandbox S. Can I have one? Can I have that, please? There we go. There we go. Beware of the EMP attack. Okay, this is a wave boss. The EMP is the red circles. Whoa, dude! These red circles are intense. They don't go away either. So there's no, like... Alright, now we're talking. Now, okay, first of all, the boss doesn't care. Doesn't care about me at all. He doesn't care about me. I'm gonna die for sure, dude. These EMPs. Okay, I'm liking this. I'm having a good time. This is intense. It's crazy. I don't love that they're like automatically tracking me, but I think to a certain extent that's happening because you've got an opportunity to create different mechanics with these enemies, but in order to have the enemies there, they have to be aggressive to a certain point, I think. So it might be possible to rework this, and I got pretty close to beating the boss. It might be possible to rework this where the enemy weapons, instead of just being like this front firing thing, can be like a single object that gets thrown out. That object explodes after a timer, and then more of them come out, so you end up with like these like nice AoE shots. Because you had earlier, you had the planes, and I'm gonna restart this because I think this is a game that's already worth playing twice. But yeah, you know, you okay. I'm gonna get in the plane again. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this. This first guy, okay, he missed. Actually, he didn't get me. But this one, once again, as I'm looking at this, I can dodge the other projectiles. They're fine. But this guy right here, I can't really like sneak in a shot here and there. Oh, maybe I can. Maybe I just got to get good. Okay. Trying to sneak those hits in without getting hit here. I've taken a couple of shots already. Nobody clip that, please. Nobody clip that. All right. Okay. All right. This guy's dropping bombs. Aircraft 1. Now they're not turning correctly. I don't know if this is... You can see he can't even target me now. I don't know if I broke something or what. So that may be a design that needs work. We'll see. I'm getting pushed back a little bit by this. This is weird. So it seems like the firing, I don't know what happened here, but the damage assets need more playtesting, because as I'm on my second run here, none of their guns turn with the plane in this particular run. So as long as I dodge the random bombs and keep poking in like this, I can get this guy pretty good, I think. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Okay. And I keep like I'm not intentionally going backwards here, just for the devs like use. It's pulling me back at random. Like every time I get near this guy, it just shoves me off right here. I do have some health back, so I don't know how that happened either. But like all of that, like that was an extended backward movement, and I didn't do anything to do that. So I think you probably have not got an invisible ceiling on this, which may be useful for what it is. I think I'm getting pushed because there isn't one of those. Because you've got these objects that are coming up from a vertical, or, you know, yeah, I guess vertical base. And those circles hurt. I recall that. Come on, give me that gun, dog. Give me that gun. Okay, so I got the wave boss. Can I beat this knowing that these circles are gunning for me? Also randomly getting pushed anywhere. Like it's happening a lot now as once again I get close to this boss. Can't just take all this damage, but so you've got mechanics here that require some skill-based play, but really just have a couple of things to work out on it, I think. At this point, like all of that, I was holding forward the whole time when I was flying backwards. Can I just out tank him? Oh, yes. Yes, I can. New level unlocked. Space station. Enter the space station. All right, let's go. Victory. Okay. So I made it through, but and I don't know if it's because of that Z plane work, right? Like every time the plane was getting pushed back as I was playing it here, what's really happening is that my character is getting pushed up vertically, as far as I could tell. I was getting pushed up, which means you've got some collision detection happening from some of those other objects. And if that is the case, that there is collision, then you could just turn collision off on the other planes and be able to run through them. In fact, as I recall, in the previous, like in 1945, if you did that, then you would just take some damage and blow up the other plane when you just ran through them. So to the extent that I have an HP bar, you could also possibly make it so that when I get near them, they explode. But then is that too easy? Can you just, run through everything that way? So it's something to workshop in a couple different ways. But in terms of the potential, absolutely, right? It's playing like the old game did. It has that retro feel in a good way. It's just needing a little something more mechanically when it comes to the weapons that the enemies use. Because you have a little bit of variety, but a couple of those enemies simply just aim straight at you and kill you, right? And you have to just sit there and take it and aim straight at them and kill them. So the more variety that you can give them, the better. You could potentially have them shoot out bullets that explode into objects that fly and could give you damage, like spinning discs, right? You're using the fly mechanic from like a bird to get it to move around, and that orb or whatever it is dealing damage to your vehicle, and you have to navigate through those. That would be one interesting dynamic and relatively easy thing to do to get that done. Ian Rooney says, what happened to your hair? Let's get a 360 view. Hit the runway. Friend, you can check it out over on my Twitter. I don't have it in the back necessarily. It's just cleaned up in the back. I don't know. All right, let's see here. Julio Mejia says, their official Twitter page posted Apes of Space. Their partnership is obviously official. Just tell us August already. Julio. We like the Apes of Space. We like it when people use the asset creation software VoxEdit. We have certain partnerships, but we just like to be good community members. That's where we're at. It's not like it's a nice event for everybody. I guess that's the way I want to put it. It's a nice event for everybody. Why not celebrate it? You know? All right. Question. Soul Cancer says, I found that once shared to the drafts gallery, sometimes the game logic can go sideways in different ways depending on who knows how many factors. And sometimes I would agree with that. Because there's definitely a difference between when you're on the local end and when you're on the end of the game player, which is why I recommend Soul Cancer and you know, to use Zummer as you made this game. Make sure that you have 2 accounts. If you're a developer, just make 2 accounts. Make one with your social login, make one with your MetaMask or whatever. And use your second account not to create arts or not to create games or do whatever, but just to play your own. Publish them into the gallery when you think they're done, and then run through them. And then ultimately the only thing that you will end up missing is you'll end up missing the things that you don't think of because you were the creator. You know, like a lot of people will talk to me when we're streaming here and I'm playing a game, and they'll be like, no, do it this way. And it's like, if you have to tell me to do it that way, then there's something in the game that you need to change that leads me to do it that way, rather than just, you know, hope that you're on a chat, because you're going to have 99.9% of your users, you're never going to see them play. So when you see me do something here that is not to your expectations, then you know that there is something in the game to change. But when you check it out as yourself and you're playing it on a second account, you can see if there are end user glitches that you didn't know about. And so internally, we do a lot of QA like that with our games, our experiences. Not only do we play them, but then we'll hand them off to somebody who, you know, one person who all they do is QA, another person who's never played it before, another person who's on the community management side but doesn't necessarily do anything. And then, like, right before we go into our alpha, we do like a huge thing where we go, hey, company-wide, everybody come play for this 5-hour block and play at least a couple of hours of as many experiences as you can. As long as you get so many quests done, then your feedback, and we stitch it all together that way. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it, but the first step is always that you, as the developer, test it on your own second account, just to make sure there's not those little things that were just mentioned there by Soul Cancer here. All right. Warning for those people who are viewing on Facebook right now. We don't give out cryptocurrency on this stream. We do not especially give out BNB because we don't use the Binance Smart Chain. So I'm going to have to block some users on Facebook here real quick, unfortunately. And also, when it comes to any cryptocurrency whatsoever, it is impossible to just magically double it or triple it. So don't try to do that. It won't work. There is the reason why implicitly cryptocurrencies are respected around the world is that they are trackable, traceable, limited quantity assets that are either only slowly accumulated over time from mining crypto, or they have a defined, like, exact amount that will ever exist. So, all right, Metasander speculating says Alex is probably going to spill the beans about season 3 on this Saturday stream. I don't know about all that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Nice, Candidly Kristen. Thank you for helping on Discord. Candidly Kristen said it must be scammer hour. It's going crazy. And I agree, Ice Pilot. Most are trackable. Right. There's certain amounts, but that's why, generally speaking, I mean, for me personally, I don't tend to vest myself in those currencies that, you know, you can't track, you can't manage, you can't understand or see. All right. QA game player. How do I get that job? Andro Meta Galaxy S over on YouTube. Well, stay on the line. You know what I mean? There's always new opportunities and new jobs opening in the metaverse all the time. Panyalone asks, what's Joe's favorite food? Oof, that's a tough one. I'm gonna generically say noodles, but like, because I mean, who doesn't like a good noodle? You know what I mean? There's all kinds. You can have like the like almost like jelly like rice noodles. Those are really good. They're like thicker ones, right? And then you got the like just really like angel hair thin, like even thinner noodle, you know, where like you don't even cook it really. You like blanch it just for a second and then like you let the broth cook that noodle. Like, oh man, those are super good. I don't know. I just like noodles, you know. Tonkatsu ramen, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Yes. Joe, are we going to see partner social hubs in the sandbox just like the alpha hubs? Yes. Yes, there will be. Some of those already in development. However, we are going to eventually, Metasander, reach a point where rather than you seeing the alpha hubs or whatever posted just by us, you're going to see a point where we have an alpha going in the spaces that are blue on the map that say the sandbox. And at the same time, you've got a concurrent, constantly running, you know, concert happening over on some other part of the map and you know, social hubs elsewhere. Yeah, I wish I could talk about it more because there's a lot of things that are being done and made and right now. But just know that absolutely, yes, there will be partner social hubs as well in the future. Basically, everybody who's got a logo on the map ought to have a social hub if they don't already. And some of them don't yet because they're looking for people like you who can create. And yeah. Then Lay Newman. I knew you were going to quote that. I knew somebody was going to quote it. They were going to clip it or something. You know what I mean? They were going to get out there. Who doesn't like a good noodle? Yes, Lay Newman. I guess, you know. All right. So, yeah, let's jump in. Let's jump into another one. Do I have a request in the chat right now for the next game to play? If not, I may go back and try to find that other GJ Game Jam game that I was looking at earlier. But I also always want to preference your games here for those people who are in the chat or your experiences, whether it be like yesterday, we played on what was mostly a social hub, but we can give it that like first look. And I'll give my feedback, but once again, as you are the developer, it is your discretion, whether you take what I have to say and care about it at all. You know what I mean? You can do whatever you like, but I do like to give the feedback where I can and have you watch me run through it. That way, if you see me do something you don't expect, then you can make an adjustment if you want to, or not. Yeah. Okay. Any updates for the Snoopverse? All right, Marco Galvano. That is one of those partners that has the social hub, that has the other experiences kind of already in the works for it. So the experience that you played, if you played in Alpha Season 2, the Snoop Dogg's 4-play experience would be like the teaser experience for those people who don't have that pass to kind of get you excited, get you into the idea of going out, getting a pass so you can get into the Snoopverse. From there, once again, like the second that the doors are open, theoretically, like, I don't know how to there's a better word for that, but the second that the doors are open for the team that works with Snoop on these games and experiences, which it is a team, then they can publish. And when they can publish, then you can go there. But once again, that takes a little bit of time. Partners tend to have some priority, for lack of a better term, in terms of like they understand that they're the first ones doing it, so things can sometimes break. But at the same time, they're the first ones who get a chance to do it. and it is the Sandbox Metaverse, so they want to get in, they want to enjoy it, and get that out to the people. So as soon as we can, absolutely. Idle Man says, I thought it was Snoop making the maps himself. I mean, he's got input, but you know, have you seen how many things Snoop's doing? You know what I mean? Like Snoop's doing so much, crazy, right? Like at the same time that NFT LA was happening, so was the Super Bowl that he was in, and it's like, all right, you know, I'm out of here. I had a funny talk with Touche about the way that Seb is kind of like that. Sebastian Bourget, our chief operating officer, he will be there, and then he's just gone, right? Or he'll be like, oh, I saw you over here at this thing. And then you're like, what? You weren't there. You know what I mean? Like, he's a ninja. He's a ghost. And also, he's always there all the time. And then just gone. Touche said specifically that there was one time that he like had his phone out, right? And he was like doing like a thing like, hey, I'm at the Sandbox booth, and like taking a selfie like this, right? And like he swung to his left, like recording the booth, swung back to his right, and suddenly there's like Seb right here. And he's like, boo! Like, like, how's it going? So like he's it's crazy. And you got to be like that when you're at like the top, right? When you're doing everything all at once. And yeah, so it's crazy, but they also like, they're just like mad note takers, right? Like you have to be that. You have to be like, okay, yeah, like this happened on this date at this time. And in order to keep that going. So I think that's one of those things, like when it comes to like Snoop and his teams of people that help work on their stuff that they are doing. You really kind of have to, once again, just be like a mad note taker and be like, this is what I think about this. I like this. I don't like that. All right. See you next week. You know what I mean? All right. Ninja Seb. Jazzwolf, you right. Seb equals Batman. Definitely. That's definitely true. Seb would have one of those things, right? Like that does feel like a very Seb thing to do when you're like having a conversation and, you know, you're like, all right, so what are you going to do? Right. And then like you turn around and it's like, he's gone. And you're like, man, he always does that. He's crazy. Super active. You're right. It's funny too, because when I like a lot of you guys I've never seen him like in a meeting, right? But Seb has this amazing way of, I'm gonna try out boom mouse. All right, but Seb has this amazing way in a meeting where he'll be like in a meeting, but then like, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but like, you know, he's just going at it, and then he's like, he'll just give you the direct feedback, but then just be like, I feel like it's either like a ton of notes or a ton of emails or a ton of both, you know? And it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild out here. It's pretty wild. Super busy person, and I really appreciate him just taking care of the Sandbox game and everything that they do. All right, Treasure Hunter. Can you find some treasures for me? Dragon eggs or artifacts? Okay. All right, so first pop-up right away. First jumping into this, it's really bright. I don't know if this is a problem for you guys watching live, but we can hear the keyboard for sure. I have a pretty big monitor. It's a 32-inch display, and the sun is not as bright as my screen right now. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. So the text is easy to read, and I like that. But the first impression is that it needs to be toned down a little. Give it a little texture, right? But yeah, there we go. Chat seems to agree. And then I get into the first text prompt here with I like the exclamation marks over the heads. Thank you for doing that. That tells me these guys have quests. I can, work with that. Can you find some treasures for me? That's great. Maybe a little dialogue here, a little something to talk about who I am as this mouse character. Dragon eggs artifacts. Like I can pick one, yeah. But maybe there could be one text dialogue that's like Sure, I'd love to help you or something like that. And then the next button is like, okay, so which do you prefer, or which kind of treasure do you prefer? And then boom. And chat's wilding right now. This map is giving me a tan. That's what they say. It burns too bright. Yes, but so there's a way to do this where we can give a little depth to the conversation, get a little more investment in the characters, even if you end up being the user like me. You see me do it on some of these live shows where I'll just be like I'll just spam and button through the chat. And if I do that, right, you know that there are other users out there that are doing that. And there are going to be people who are like that. But then there's going to be the other one that the other kind of person who wants to see that story get fleshed out. So much like when you build a single player game like a God of War or whatever, the stories are deep and they got the skip button option for when you're like, all right, I don't care about this cutscene, Right. Over on twitch.tv, Idleman has asked Joe, what were you doing today 3 years ago? 3 years ago, 2019, April 2019? Wow. I was almost already working for the Sandbox game. 3 years ago today, I was a radio account executive for a radio station, a company called Alpha Media in the USA. Account executive is the kind of person who will go around from business to business and make sure that if you have an ad on the radio or whatever, you like the script. If you don't like the script, let me rewrite it for you, that sort of thing. So probably about this time I would have been getting my radio advertising board certificate of I know what I'm doing sort of thing for marketing there. But yeah, it's that's crazy to think about too, right? Because if you guys know from being around, if you've been around a while, you've probably already kind of had your life changed a little bit by the crypto space, that's as a face for radio. Wow, Ice Pilot. Wow, dude. Imagine pumping up your friends, you know what I mean? I'm kidding. I got a face for radio and a voice for print, Can you find some treasures? Anyway, let's get back to it here. Dragon eggs. Let's do that. I've picked dragon eggs. New objective unlocked. What was the objective that I unlocked? So there is some subtext that you can put in there under new objective unlocked. So just know that. I would say that the look for the 3 dragon eggs text should be in the subtext of that little prompt that comes through, right? Yeah. All right, tips. Tip number 1, you must grab the bombs and you must hit them for them to explode. Okay, so I'm reading this assuming that, so tip number 1 reads like this, and hear me out. Tip number 1, you must grab the bombs and you must hit them to explode. That reads like when you grab the bombs, you're placing them down so that you could hit them and blow yourself up. So if that isn't the case, then I would reword this a little bit to say, to start the explosion timer or to prep them for explosion or something like that. Whatever's the most accurate answer here, because when I read that, once again, I'm reading that as I'm going to punch it, it's going to blow up instantly, I'm going to die. So maybe rewrite that a little bit. Tip number 2, you have 4 minutes to complete each level. Okay. Tip number 3, you must collect the Gaia fragment to complete the level. So I don't really know what that is, but I mean, I guess that's fine, right? It looks like it's a proper name. So thanks. Okay. One thing that's interesting so far, I can swing, I can jump, but we're at this 2/3 or 3/4 sort of top down isometric camera angle, right? Which means that I can't change the camera using the mouse, which is totally fine. It's a choice, and not a bad one, really. Okay, so we got White House here. Rainy, hello, I am David Tobar, the creator of this game. I am an architect. If you're interested in my work, you can contact me on my Instagram at darkanime. Thanks for playing. All right, cool. That's really nice. I like that. Give a little life to it. Okay, what's going on here? What do we got? Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is locked. G. I know that's a 6 contextually, but it doesn't look like a 6 because that block needs to connect to the main part. Stupid little thing, but just throwing it out there. So there appears to be 9 levels. Cool. 6, 7, 8. Right. Let's go to level 1. Are you ready? Never. Okay. So we're coming in. We got the bomb. Place the bomb. All right. I hold the thing. Can't do that. Hello? Oh, ow. Okay, it can hurt you, but it takes time to blow up. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Nope, I didn't hit the bomb. There we go, that time I did. Boop. Okay. Boop. 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 Come on, hit the bomb. Okay, run. Don't be alive. Get some help. Wait, what? No. Up. Hit the bomb. Okay, so I think it's possible that something is happening with the hitbox of the bomb. Based on the way that it actually bounces if you grab it at the wrong time. Am I just supposed to kill the enemies? Is that the goal of this here? It feels like it is. Okay, all right. And there is, or appears to be, a hitbox around those blocks as well. That's a little bit bigger than the block normally is. Oh, hi. Oh, yeah. Gotta go. Bye. There you go. You did. So it's doing good things. This is actually similar to an experience that I was kind of trying to play that wasn't complete a couple of days ago. Right, from who made that? Who made that Bomberman, like, or I called it like Bomberman experience. I think this is doing good things in that way, except that I would make it, if possible, I would make it so that you're carrying around or you're standing on a platform, maybe, that you can just push E, like. It could end up making the platform floating or whatever, but you can just push E and it spawns that bomb, and then the bomb is automatically like fused and ready to explode after a certain amount of time, rather than doing this where you have to drop it and punch it, and then when it blows up or dies, in this case, right, like, then it explodes. So, yeah, okay. Come on now. I gotta hit this bomb. There we go. Get the heck out of here. All right. Here we go. I assume I got to get to the door. So I'm going to try to get to the door. There we go. Got a little explodey boys. A little explodey boys right here. Run away. Wait, what? Oh my, oh. Can't believe. Coming through. Okay. Okay, there we go. I got it that time. The door. Is the door... What? Do I have to make the door blow up? How do I complete this level? I assume that I had to... Uh-oh. Run! Run for your life, get some help! Okay. What? Alright. Yeah, alright. So, nice. I see you in chat. You hearing it. Maddox, thank you. Appreciate it. You're a nice person. Thanks for hanging out. It's the indestructible door. That's the thing. So, I assumed, and it looks like it because there's a little flag over the top. This is to lobby. That if I would have gone in that door, that I would have gone back to the lobby. You talk too much, Joe. If I would have gone back to the lobby, then I could have gone into level 2. Let's see if I restart it. Maybe I just restart. You can see the layout of the land there, roughly. These are individually laid out all over the map, and going to each one of these doors for the levels. Let's assume I don't even care about that quest. Or that I never needed it. Okay, and you can't get in here without having completed that one. So, I don't know if this is a glitch or the game is incomplete. Either way, what you're looking at really is overall. And then once again, you got a good base. You got that Bomberman style. What I would recommend that you do is, and once again, you don't have to do this, but if you want to, there was a couple of weeks back during the round 21 game jam, there was a golfing experience that was made. And in that golfing experience, it did a similar thing, where you were able to grab an asset and you carried it, and you could drop a thing with that. At least from what I recall. I could be getting this wrong off the top of my head, but if I was making a Bomberman-like experience, what I would do is I would make a platform with like walls on the sides, a thing on the front that you can grab, right? And then a platform under it that like lifts you or kind of carries you, so you can almost float along the way. If you can do that, then you can make it so that on the left side of the platform is like the drop your bomb button. On the right side of the platform is the grab the whole platform and move with it button. So you can take your bomb disposal system along with you instead of having it spawn in the back. So, what time is Lucas live? Fing Lone, Lucas, Alex Florez, and myself will be live at 6 p.m. UTC tomorrow. So, if you want to hang out with us for that wonderful stream, it's going to be the biggest stream. I'm going to put it out. It's the biggest stream of the spring, in my opinion. So, come hang out with us. You're going to enjoy it, I think. You're going to enjoy it. All right. Is that Easter? Would that be Easter? For everybody in Europe, that is Easter, isn't it? That's still Saturday for us. That's just a Saturday, chat. That's crazy. No, it's 6 p.m. on Saturday. That's not right. It's not Easter yet. Way to ruin Easter, says Cannily Kristen. Nice. Aced, join us for tomorrow morning's live stream. My morning, Alex's afternoon, maybe your evening, depending on where you are in the world. Be there or be square, says Grayson Slade, or at least a triangle. You know what I'm gonna do, chat? Is it just feeling like it's feeling like a Good Friday, chat? Yeah, my wife just laughed because I'm a cheese ball. All right. Dad jokes all day. All right. I'm gonna make 2 copies of a form here. Please get away from the whiteness, says Ice Pilot 07. I don't know what that means, Ice Pilot. I feel like I need to go buy a bottle of Crest now. A little Colgate, you know. All right, responses. Open. Chat, we're going to do 2 Wizzy the Green hats here right now on this stream. I'm going to put in 2 different forms. And I'm going to ask, was your favorite retro game 20 years old or more. That's what we're going to send out right here. This form going out right now over on youtube.com, twitch.tv, and facebook.com is a form where you can win a Wizzy themed NFT right here on this live stream. If I open up my inventory, I can see what Wizzy the Blue's Undying hat looks like on this cute little mouse character. It'd be a hat similar to this, except that it is the lucky hat with 2 luck pips of gems in there for you, themed in the Wizzyverse. Additional benefits to having these hats will be good, will be fun. All right, let's see here. Is it already Saturday? It's already Saturday, isn't it? For you guys. It's not Friday. Rub it in, Joe, says Grayson Slade. Hey, you know how it is. You know how it is. I'm not trying to rub it in. I don't know. I didn't ask for it. You know what I mean? And I like it. It's a nice hat. I like it. You'll like it when you get yours. You know what I mean? You're going to get us one right on this live stream. Just got to fill out that form. Question is, what is your favorite retro game? 20 years old or more. Just 52 responses to that form so far, with 233 people in the chat. So what's up, chat? What's your favorite game? 2 forms. Cool on. There will be another one in just a little bit. But I'm going to do one right now. In the meantime, let me jump back into the metaverse right now. I'm going to jump over to the alpha. And we still got the alpha lobby open, chat. Let's go hang out in the alpha lobby. Let's break this video game real quick. You know what I mean? Let's push these servers to the test. Make the devs cry. You know what I mean? It's always fun. You aren't. Oh boy. Let me log in, bro. There we go. Newer-ish Halo. WT7791. The old game. The newer-ish Halo. The 2001 Halo? You mean Halo? I mean, I think that's the only one that would traditionally qualify as a retro game at this point. Chat. Now I feel old. I remember getting like when my family, when we got like an Xbox, we didn't get a PS2 because my dad and I, we were kind of tech nerds. I was obviously a lot younger, right? But he was like a hardware guy, hardware nerd, not a software nerd at all. And so we saw them next to each other. We think Xbox, it's got a hard drive in it like a computer does. You know, you could save to it. You don't need a memory card. PS2, go buy a memory card secondhand. No, thank you. So we got the original Xbox. We got the bundle from eBay that somebody had bought all this stuff at the store just for the purposes of reselling it. But it was tax time. You know what I mean? You spend a little cash, a little extra cash. And Halo Combat Evolved comes in this thing. And he and I sat there, played it on easy, played it on normal, played it on hard, played it on legendary, just back to back to back to back over multiple weeks because that game was just that darn good. So that's the future of all FPS right there. Candidly Kristen already in the metaverse. What's up, Candidly Kristen? Love it. Love it. Pac-Man. Pac-Man's a great one. You really can't replace Pac-Man either, right? Like Pac-Man and Pong are those kind of games where, and I guess like Breakout. Breakout's one of those for me too, where they just can't be beat. You know, you play them now, then whenever. They're gonna feel the same. They're gonna feel great. Shriram asks, is Prince of Persia a retro game? Well, yeah, like 4 Prince of Persias would be retro now. The Prince of Persia Sands of Time, yep, technically, I think that's 20 years old. If not, it's like 19, so like close enough, right? And then there were Prince of Persia games that were made for like NES and SNES too. Donkey Kong Country, absolutely, good call on that one. Galaga, yeah, that's a beautiful retro game for sure. That's actually my dad's favorite arcade game. you know, if you take him to like we don't really well, I guess he lives closer to Seattle now than I do, but there's a wonderful place up there right across from the convention center called GameWorks. If you've never been there, go there. It is a game place for adults. And it's great. They'll have like a whole section just for those like true retro arcade games, pinballs and things like that too. And then of course the new stuff, right? The high speed crazy racing games and all these other things. Also really like SimCity 2000. Ooh, yes. That's one of my favorite genre. Just sim whatever, right? Sim something. Put it together. Put those two words together. You got me buying your game in a minute. Pitfall was really good on Atari. Wow, yeah. It was hard, but it was one of those games that was satisfying when you were playing it, right? Because it definitely felt skill-based. And that was a bit rare, I thought, with Atari, right? Like, you know, I play pole position on an Atari, if you know what that is. It's like their F1 style racing that was then. And playing pole position, it felt almost like random when I was winning, you know? It's like, oh, well, somebody didn't randomly strafe into me or whatever. But Pitfall was always very much like it was in my control, right? Anyone here know of Goof Troop? Keeper Top Shot? I don't know about Goof Troop. I don't really remember playing that, but a great retro one that I think everybody will remember randomly would be the DuckTales video game, which I think was remade for like Xbox 360 or something like that. But DuckTales was like a masterpiece of game design, similarly to like Aladdin was just an amazing platformer. But, you know, I mean, given the niche of it, not a lot of people bought that. It wasn't like its own thing. It was a TV show based on a game based on a kid's show. So like adults were like, whatever, right? But if you go back and you play that now, it's like super skill-based play. Oh, X Tanky TV says, I wrote Call of Duty. Nice. Nice. Which one? There are many. You have to be pretty old to write Call of Duty 2, Big Red 1. Have to be an older. Not that that's a problem, right? It's a feature. It's nice to see the veterans out there creating. Counter-Strike would definitely qualify as a retro game. A lot of people in the chat did not want to hear that. But Counter-Strike, 1.6 even, I think, is a retro game at this point. So that's pretty wild. Secret of Mana, beautiful game. I love it. Monkey Island, Return to Monkey Island was a special place. Gauntlet is one of those games. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Donimo over on Twitch talking about Gauntlet right now. I feel like Gauntlet is one of those games that the Sandbox Game Maker right now, as it stands in this state, is made for that. So if you were making in the Retro Gaming Game Jam and you made a Gauntlet style game with these tools, I think it would have been like the easiest thing to make. You know what I mean? Because it's all about get through these creatures, get to the thing that spawns them, and then from there, you know, don't shoot the food. And this person, you know, whatever, right? Blue Valkyrie needs food badly or whatever, right? It was always a thing. And sure, you could only do it like as yourself, but it would have also, like, you could have taken it to the next level when you were making like your retro Gauntlet remake or whatever on this platform by making it so that you could get assistance along the way from, you know, you're playing your main avatar, your character, and then the assistant that you call in is a hand created like red barbarian character, and like a yellow wizard or whatever could be following you, or that blue Valkyrie, green archer or whatever could follow you. Those things would have made it kind of stand out as like a nostalgia kick, and I think a lot of that could have helped people during that retro game jam because you wanted to feel retro. So if you bring in those familiar elements that aren't necessarily copyright violating elements, then, you know, because you can't copyright red and barbarian. They're kind of hand in hand, you know what I mean? So, you know, Gauntlet is one of those examples. I've always thought about that as one of the definitive, like, easier, you're just getting started in the sandbox, you're just starting to learn the tools and you want to make something cool, I think that's it. All right. Anybody else out here have the original NES game that came with the spinning top bot? That spinning top bot is called Rob R.O.B. Rob the robot. And you instead just push the plastic levers yourself because it was like one of the worst designs in tech ever. Let me tell you something, Grayson Slade. I am pretend insulted right now. Because back then there was nothing. You know what I mean? There was nothing interactive. Closest thing you got to interactivity at that point was what? Like some really bad, like not even VR. Like I guess just the light gun was the only thing that they really had at that time. And I don't even think light gun came out yet because Duck Hunt hadn't been made when that Rob the Robot was out. But, you know, it's interesting. Because yeah, it is one of those things where like that tech is older, but there's something about it. I mean, there's a reason why Rob is in Smash Brothers today, right? People just remembered it forever. Skyrim's not old enough. That's right, not yet. It's only been released on 3 console generations. Not old enough yet. Like GTA, you know what I mean? GTA 5 is one of those games. No offense, of course, to those developers or whatever, but it's not my personal style to want to release a game and then go like, I want it on the next platform. I want it on the next platform forever. Like, let a thing be its own thing. Let it have its own life. I understand when you're making money hand over fist by making some cosmetics or whatever, but I've never been a fan of that sort of thing. Battletoads, I'm seeing it. Okay. Tony Hawk technically is a retro game now. Let that sit in for a minute, you know what I mean? Iconic game. Frogger, obviously, yeah. Ray Dub, we've seen some Frogger creations here in the Sandbox game. Not just for the Retro Gaming Game Jam, but Frogger-like games have been made. That's a relatively popular early one. Twisted Metal. MetaNerd69 says Twisted Metal in the chat. I think that's another good one. Similar to how you just saw, you know, when we were playing here earlier. I mean, I guess, you know, as we're just kind of workshopping, like talking about these old school games, you're workshopping ideas and how do they work in the metaverse? How do they work in the Sandbox Game Maker? Twisted Metal could work the same way that 1945 demo that we just played could work, right? Because it is one of those things where you just basically have an arena and then you have these vehicles that have different functions. So what are their different functions? How do you set certain vehicles apart from each other? Not just statistically, but like aesthetically, mechanically, how are they different when you drive them? And can you give a user a choice before they get into that arena to use that vehicle? And I think if you combine like the mechanics of that 1945 game there with also the mechanics that we saw in Murder in the Candyverse, which won the Alpha Season 2 Game Jam. Maybe not. They got second place, but, you know, it won one of the top 10. The Murder in the Candyverse had those mechanics where, like, a thing was missing, so all these other things were possible in the area. I think you could do that same sort of thing, but you do it with the cars themselves, where, like, I have decided that I want to be the definitely not Sweet Tooth or whatever of this definitely not Twisted Metal game. And so once you've taken that one vehicle out, all the other vehicles can spawn, and you know you got to go up against those with their different respective mechanics. And you'd be able to have like a tooltip up in that like pre-fight lobby that says this does this, it has this whatever stat all the way up and down on that. So you know, that's an interesting thing. I think somebody should be exploring that. And I'm like 99.9% sure that you could get the straight up full out like blessing to use the IP if David Scott Jaffe still owns the IP. He's the original creator of Twisted Metal. Super nice dude. Super nice dude. Very down to earth. And is willing to have a conversation with basically anybody. All right, let's see here as we're continuing to kind of shop through some old school things. Toe Jam and Earl. That one's a classic. I think that one would be pretty well interpreted also in the Sandbox game because it is mostly just like a chill vibe. Go collect these little components. Don't get hit by this guy here and there. Excuse me. what really defined that Toe Jam and Earl game was always that narrative of like we're definitely not Cheech and Chong, right? And I think that translates pretty well into any of those narrative based experiences. You know, it's just, can you create a great compelling story? TJ&E was also iconic in that they didn't need to have all these like all the voice actors or whatever, right? Initially, the newer ones that they made, they did that, but the old ones, they kind of just did that like thing when they and you read in the text box, you know, and it was still a great story. And it all comes down to these unique original characters that you can get invested in. So if you're looking to make something that is a good adventure game with the Sandbox Game Maker tools, I think that's a good reference as well, because there is a lot of text chat here. So can you get that text chat translated to, well, it's just a good story behind it. Duke Nukem 3D, huge, obviously, iconic, absolutely. Randy Pitchford will hug you in real life if you bring up Duke Nukem. This is the creator of Borderlands and all of those things. Owns the Duke Nukem IP because they originally worked on it. Rebought it to make that one that they came out with like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago that didn't sell very well because they were stuck in development heck for 16 years on that one. Duke Nukem Forever. I think that was that one. That's where I got the little Altoids bottle that Duke Nukem steroids, but they're Altoids. I've never opened it. Got that from Randy. He's a very nice guy too, definitely. Stancat has a good one. I think this could be incorporated really well in the Sandbox game too, if you can do it right. Double Dragon. One of the definitive things about this game that came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System was that you and a friend, and right now the multiplayer in combat together doesn't work, but you and a friend could stand near each other, and when you do the same button combination at the same time, your two characters would like go back to back, and they'd spin around in like a hurricane style kick, right? It's a super cool thing. You don't really get to see that in those fighting games, and you really don't even see that very much anymore at all, if at all, except for in Double Dragon, where like you have like true like co-op style, almost like Avengers level cooperation attacks that are much stronger. Double Dragon did that, and you could do that, I think, in the Sandbox game fairly easily if you were to make it so that, you know, when you interacted with, like, you had a character running behind you or something, and that character, maybe they're dragging a button with them, or, you know, like before when we talked about being on a platform and dropping a bomb. If that other character is dragging that platform, that when you interact with the button, you attach to the platform, and you and the other guy, the whole platform spins around with like a damage attack, you can end up making that Double Dragon effect work. You just have to find, I think, an interesting visual way to mask the fact that it is a little bit, at least at this time, you're on that platform and you're doing that spinny business, right? Like make a nice like hurricane or whatever effect come out of the person, the character that was following you or something, as like a big attack. I think that would be interesting to see. All right, let's see here. Some other interesting ones. Turok's interesting, but I feel like Turok runs into the same, like, it's the same game as GoldenEye, or Perfect Dark, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but I think that's maybe that's just because of the, like, whatever demo that Nintendo took out to a first-person shooter developer and said, make a shooter story that's compelling around this tool, because it seems like the way their joystick moved, it was like always that way, kind of snappy in that sense. And I've seen a little bit of that with the way that people have like kind of, I guess I want to say like hacked together a shooter in the Sandbox game so far. When you go first person, they do kind of feel Turok like, or that like Perfect Dark GoldenEye like. So it'd be interesting to see if anybody actually went and made that happen. Sonic the Hedgehog is great. I think the Sonic, if you look at Sonic and you look at like how can I incorporate that sense of speed in the Sandbox game. I think the only way that you could do that is you'd have to basically play tricks with a side scroller, and then, because right now, unless you own 3 lands that are left to right, you wouldn't be able to publish a game that would make for a super compelling Sonic the Hedgehog. But if you did make a similar sort of a game, the best way that you could make that mechanic work, as Ahmed says on Facebook, would probably be to actually manipulate the background itself into moving. And I imagine that that's probably how they did that on the old, like, Segas, right? To make that happen. Or like when you're playing Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo, it's probably the similar thing, because they do get a sense of speed, but I don't think that they actually made the character move any faster. So yeah, right now we can hold shift and we can run a little bit faster, but if you want it to look like you're going really fast, you'd have to have a way to, like, press E for super speed or something. And then you're really making the world move itself. And when you make the world move, the best way to apply that would be to make, like, ramps or something, right, that your character is running on as they're flying by. And you'd probably have to play test that quite a lot, just to make sure that randomly when your character gets, like, shoved up the ramp, because essentially that's what would happen when the ramp goes by like this, you're just getting shoved up that ramp and over it. But if you can do that well, then you could give people a genuine sense of, like, super speed, and you're starting to do something different in the sandbox. And, this could be applied for all sorts of different things. It could be like a Matrix-y sort of effect or whatever. Lots of cool stuff. Metal Slug is a good example of a game you could do, with the one caveat being that what I would probably do with a Metal Slug-like game is make it as small as humanly possible, right? Do that effect where you are sort of, make it a side-scroller game, but a side-scroller game where assets, like, the box is really small. I would actually make that smaller than a 1x1 if I was to do it, and put your user in that little box so that you can stack up the sheer number of assets and attacks and whatever that are flying at your character as much as possible without causing additional lag, because Metal Slug was a very busy game in terms of visuals. So if you do a game like a Metal Slug, then try to bring that box in. Do, like, maybe a third of a 1x1, shrink it in, and then when you want that effect, like a thing is attacking the characters, they only have to come in from, like, off screen. Because you'd use a fixed camera on a side scroller or something. They have to come in from off screen, and you do the attack on them, or you miss them and they go past you on the left. If they don't die, then they can go back behind the screen, essentially, on the lower layer, and then come back and do it again, or come back off from the left side or something like that. So you got some interesting things with Metal Slug here. Let's see, Maddox of Furia brings up Simpsons Road Rage. And as we're starting to see more vehicles being produced by people like Blaze Games, I think you've got an opportunity for something like that. Because Simpsons Road Rage wasn't really about, like, really sophisticated turning or any of that, right? It was very raw in the way that it played, but it was almost like a Grand Theft Auto. I'm feeling like when I read Simpsons Road Rage, I'm thinking to myself, like, a great game in the Sandbox game right now that you could design would be something more similar to Crazy Taxi. You have the customers that are spawning into certain areas of the game, and depending on which customer spawns depends on where they want to go in your city. You pick them up, you take them, you're going on your way. All these other crazy wild things happen. Things are exploding. They're doing whatever on the way based on proximity triggers. And your vehicle doesn't have to be, like, super sophisticated. You don't need your Forza Gran Turismo style driving. You need fun. You're having a good time. You get a good soundtrack in there when soundtracks become available in the near future. So I think that's a really interesting and compelling piece for me. That Crazy Taxi type racing adventure, essentially. because it's just about the ridiculous things that happen around you more so, like, and making a couple of bucks here and there. StanCat0 has said about 10 minutes ago, my favorite answer so far. And now that I'm seeing, we got 268 responses, 240 people in the chat, so it looks like we got a couple of people that came over from Twitter in the meantime. On that first form, I've just closed that down, so we're going to do that draw here as we're talking about what games might translate pretty well into the metaverse as your favorite retro game. StanCat0 is matching my nostalgia love for my favorite / least favorite game on the Sega Genesis, Altered Beast. If you don't remember Altered Beast, it was a game that every time you turned it on, you were in a graveyard setting to interesting, like, doom, 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 doom music. And then it just starts out with, "Welcome to your doom." And it's, I think, one of the most interesting things that could be translated really well in the sandbox, because the game was very straightforward. You walked forward, you had a punch, and you had a kick. All right? Your character was just a dude in a loincloth. Nothing sophisticated. You had a punch and you had a kick. But every third character enemy that you defeated, it would drop this random object that would be floating in the air. And if you could pick up 3 of those, your character would transform from that regular looking dude in a loincloth to the Altered Beast. They're a werewolf now. It's boots doing the whole thing. There's an animation, and then boom, you're there. You're the other character, and now you're punching. Now you're kicking. Same thing, real basic. Couple of jumps, you know what I mean, along the way. But your punches and kicks are now on fire, right? So, simple thing. You hit harder when you become the werewolf, and after a certain amount of time, it disappears. You go back to your regular self. That would be fairly easy, I think, to translate into the sandbox game once again as a side-scrolling experience, because you could make it do that transition based on a trigger. You know, you could have that, you could even have that image of I'm transforming into the wolf, right? Come up, it just changes the camera angle to you behind the thing, and then that thing blows up because it is a side-scroller, and you have all this extra depth that you're not using in your game, right? So you know that the only thing that I didn't love about that game, and that, but also may be essential, is that the mechanics were so basic with the attacks that you're dead. I forgive me, level 3, forget it. You're never beating that boss. That was my experience. StanCat, tell me if you got something different with that. In the meantime, I am definitely going to go do this drawing right now. I got my first of 2 Wizzy the Green hats. I'm drawing it right now. RNG on 268 responses. 268. Click and generate. Number 46 is our first winner today. And we'll do one more, and then we'll start closing it out. So as we do on this live stream, I do also want to remind you that if you are live streaming the Sandbox game while I close out the show over on twitch.tv, I will raid you. So we'll bring the Sand fam in and come have some fun with you as we finish. StanCat0 says, I didn't see the form. Don't worry, StanCat. I'm going to paste another one in about 30 seconds. Let me announce its winner over on youtube.com. User saying, what was your favorite retro game? Kirby. Kirby's a great game. Kirby's a great game. This was answered by Farunyu Suta over on youtube.com. Kirby's a great game. Be interesting. I don't know. That one actually, even though it is definitely a very retro game, it'd be interesting to see how somebody might try to translate that in the sandbox. You would definitely not be able to use regular avatars. You would have to use a custom asset. And then that mechanic, he sucks in whatever enemy he's fighting, and as soon as he sucks him in, he transforms into it. Or wearing a knight suit if he sucked up a knight, but he's still like a fluffy little Kirby dude. That's interesting. Enes Shakan asks, if 100% completion reward continues, will it rise or is it still going to be a surprise at the Sandbox game? That one was a surprise and also something that we decided late. So just like halfway through the alpha, we were just like, you know what? Let's just give away some more sand. So I can't guarantee that it'll be back for the next alpha at all, as certain different programs change alpha to alpha. But I can say that you will have other opportunities to earn sand in the near future. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Resident Evil Village is number 8. Metasander, if you want a tip for how to know if Resident Evil Village is number 8, VIII in Village, even though obviously that's VILL, they highlighted them in orange for that. All right, so let's do another giveaway, eh? Let's do another little giveaway, dog. Okay. Simple answer. I'm gonna pit you gamers against each other right now. You ready for this? You ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. But this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it because it's fun. All right. There's a new forum out over on youtube.com, twitch.tv, and going out soon on facebook.com. And the question is simple, chat. Question is simple as we're closing out this live stream soon, right after this drawing. Question is simple. It says Xbox or PC. Oh no. Oh no. Jay Bendaria. No. You can't. That's a cop out right there. That's a cop out right there. It says Xbox or PlayStation. That's the actual question. That's the actual question. And I'm very compelled by this question because I don't have a preference. I bought the Xbox because of the cool Game Pass thing that they're doing, right? I like the idea of I buy a game on my PC, I go hang out in my bedroom, I'm still playing the same game, same save, doing my thing. Get the PlayStation because I got those exclusives, you know what I mean? Gotta go play myself some Gran Turismo, gotta play a little God of War. But, you know, how do you consider it? Is the Xbox also the Xbox platform that you have on your PC? No, because they're getting a little more ubiquitous. I'm seeing a lot of PC answers. Smart gamers right there. I say to you, ¿por qué no los dos? You know? Why can't we have both? But it's interesting to see the answer to this because as the Sandbox continues to work towards the next version of the Game Maker, the next version of the game client, as we get past the mobile game development, which we haven't even, barely dipped our toes into at this point, do we, if we had to choose, it helps. It helps to know. Ugh, Nintendo, but I followed the rules and answered the question. Okay. I like the portability of the Switch. I gotta say, the Switch is doing good things. Switch is definitely doing good things. The Wii is a good one. The Wii is a really good one. Like, I didn't really think about it in that way. I mean, mostly because I'm looking at this as like a sort of self-serving question, right? Like, if the Sandbox game is on a console, then it would have to be on one of these two. It wouldn't work very well on a Switch. So unless Nintendo comes out with like the, Switch 2 Electric Boogaloo and it's double as powerful as a PS5 or whatever, it's not really going to work out for that, probably. But Wii makes me move versus sitting. That's exactly why I thought that was a great answer, right? Because like going through and playing like the bowling, the tennis, which it's funny because I don't even think about like the other games that they had. Like they published those like Call of Duties on Wii. But like who's playing that? You know what I mean? You're playing it for the Wii Sports. It's basically a Wii Sports machine, in my opinion. I don't know a lot of other great options. There's like all the Just Dances, I guess, are pretty good on there. They were hugely popular for a long time. But yeah, definitely. Like Wii was the thing. It was the thing. I remember I had a friend that got so obsessed with the Wii at the time. And I had worked in a retail store. So I literally, one day I got off work, I turned around and I sat in line to buy the Wii on launch day. I bring it over to their house. And they were like, this is amazing. I love it. I'll give you my Xbox 360 for it. And at the time, the Wii was like half the price of the Xbox 360. And I was like, yeah, thanks. And then I just went and bought a Wii like 2 weeks later, you know, like, come on. But they were that great, that like innovative in the space. Just picked up an Atari 5600 from Grandma's house. Works great. I don't think she played it much. Ryan C. A similar experience. My wife's gran, who is since passed, had a like mint condition, dusted it every day, day one Nintendo Entertainment System. Day one. It's currently sitting at her parents' house at this time, but it'll probably come home at a certain point. And as a user mentioned earlier, the Rob the Robot is a part of that. I think it's missing one of the tops, though. All right, so we got 215 responses. So I'm going to go ahead and close that down as we are wrapping things up here. 215 on my random number generator. For those people who would like to win that Wizzy the Green Lucky Hat, user number 211 was rolled. Wow. I've never rolled that close to the top before. That's interesting. 2, 1, 1. This one. Bro, no. Chat, you tell me. You tell me, chat. You tell me. Chat's a little biased on this one. Chat's a little biased. Chat's a little bit biased, all right? YouTube.com, Raf11 said Xbox or PlayStation. They answered PC. Chat, should we give it to him or not? You let me know. Because I'm trying to think about, when I wrote this question, I wrote it with the intention of possibly getting an understanding of, okay, so I got 1 yes, 2 no's. Give it to him. Yes, yes, yes. No mercy. Nice. No, no. Yes, not at all. No, he's wrong. Give it PC. You called him out. I think you have to. That's interesting. All right, here's what we do, chat. Here's what we do. I need to very quickly, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm doing it for everybody else in the chat. I'm doing it for everybody, no offense, everybody who's not this user. But I'm going to open up my form. I'm going to put their name in it. I'm going to copy their address so that I can remember this later. And I'm going to roll again, but I'm going to give it to Raf11 and somebody else. But the second person must have actually answered Xbox or PlayStation. So you're good. All right, I can't give it to everybody. OX got a minute. There's only about 110 of these left, right? We're gonna give it to him. Thank you, Raf, for answering. Also, I actually, honestly, I'm with you. I barely touch my PlayStation, and it's a PS5. I barely touch that Xbox. It's basically a Netflix machine. You know what I mean? I'm on PC too, so maybe I'm biased. Here we go. Let's roll it again. 1 through 215, re-rolled number 47. Number 47, you better have answered either Xbox or PlayStation. I'm going to tell you what. Over on YouTube.com, a user who's been active in the chat tonight. Answering PlayStation. Sorry, Xbox gamers. Mr. Pizza Man over on YouTube.com. You also have won. Mr. Pizza Man, who said Sandbox is on PC. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're chatting right now. Congratulations. We're doing 3. Why not? Trust me. Hey, if you like NFT giveaways, come back in a number of hours. How many? 12? No. 14. I'm back in 14 hours on this same channel right here. YouTube.com, Twitch.tv, Facebook, DLive, Theta, Twitter.com/TheSandboxGame, where Alex Florez, myself, Joseph D. Vision X Matting, and Lucas is right are going to be hanging out here in the chat and doing more giveaways just like this one. Hanging out, having fun with you guys in the chat. We're going to do some good stuff. Have a little party of sorts. So, Maddox of Fury calling me out in the chat saying, Joe, we can't give them all away. Let's just give away 3, you know? No big deal. Just 3 times more than we usually do. We're having fun. We're going to continue to have fun here tomorrow. And at the same time, if you're coming back for the good morning, afternoon, evening show as well, we'll be live again. Get your games queued up if you'd like me to play your experience. You've created something. You're testing something. And you want me to check it out. Feel free. Once again, send it to me over on twitter.com/thevisionex, and I'll play your game on this show. Announcement tomorrow? ? George Rye? I guess you'll just have to check it out. It's wild. Not yet. Almost. We're going to go over to twitch.tv, silly Joe. Silly Joe. We're going to twitch.tv/the Sandbox Game. I'm going to click on the Sandbox, and anybody who's streaming the Sandbox Game right now may be rated by me. Yesterday, I'm pretty sure I told somebody who is not streaming right now that I would be rating them. But as I'm seeing a lot of familiar names right now streaming live, I'm going to go over to, I think I've only ever rated them once. Maxi Mac has a just starting screen right now, which means they know they've been here. They're hanging out in the chat right now. Let's go raid Maxi Mac over on twitch.tv/the Sandbox Game. We're going to start that raid. That is, if you're watching on YouTube, you want to join us. If you're watching on Twitter, you'd like to join us, go to twitch.tv/MAXIE_MAC. We're going to be rating with 93 viewers right now. So Twitch, thank you for hanging out with us. We're going to party with Maxi Mac for a couple of minutes at least. I mean, I know I got some stuff. We're going to be doing some stuff. But we're going to be hanging out, chatting, doing little subs, you know, having fun. And we'll see you there in just a few minutes. Twitch.tv's out of here. YouTube, DLive, Theta, Facebook. Thank you for hanging out with me. Also, those of you who are watching on twitter.com/the Sandbox Game, you're great. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Once again, come back in about 14 hours from the end of this live stream. We had another one coming up with Alex Florez. You're not going to want to miss that one. So I will see you there. Or be square shaped, you know? All right.